Hello students, welcome to the chemistry sessions once again. So I hope you all are doing great. And what about the revision process? Are you revising the structures what we have done so far? So again and again I am asking you the same question, what about the revision? So basically revision is going to be helpful within your examination preparations. It will actually save your time. So in order to save your time while preparing for the exams, in order to save the holidays, the preparatory holidays which are given to you, so you need to have a proper practice of each and everything that we actually do in a particular session. You need to revise each and every session. Just take out 15 minutes from each and every session. After you watch one session, take out 15 minutes, try to revise what we have done so far, and that would be more than sufficient. So what we were discussing in the last class was about the antimicrobials. So what was the first antimicrobial that was discovered? That was salvarsan, and salvarsan again then got modified into prontosil. That is a kind of a azodie, having azodie, N double bond N kind of a structure within the whole molecule, that is the prontosil. And what about again a discovery of another kind of specific class of antibiotics, that was the sulfa drugs that were discovered at that time. Most effective was the sulfaperidine. So I hope you all remember that. Then what we have discussed was most prominently very important kind of an antibiotic, that is penicillin, derived from the penicillium fungus. So what is the use of penicillin? As I told you to find out the uses of all the antibiotics that we have discussed, that is bactericidal as well as the bacteriostatic. So you need to have a proper functioning of each and every antibiotic on what all diseases are cured by these antibiotics. So what we have done so far? We have done about the chloramphenicol. So basically first was the penicillin that we had discussed. So penicillin, what kind of treatment is it? It treats particularly the bronchitis as well as the pneumonia. So these are the kind of treatments, and many other for the penicillin that I am talking about. The second is what we have discussed is chloramphenicol. So chloramphenicol, acting upon a wide range of diseases, wide range of bacteria even. So it is under the category of broad spectrum. So broad spectrum antibiotics it is. So this is broad spectrum. I hope you remember these terms. Broad spectrum antibiotics. So it treats up dysentery, it treats up typhoid, it treats up acute fever. So basically it has got so many potent applications. So that is acute fever, dysentery, even typhoid. So these are the applications. So basically what it does is, chloramphenicol is so much effective that it is immediately absorbed within the gastrointestinal tract. So this is absorbed in gastrointestinal tract. That means immediately get absorbed, immediately starts its action upon the microorganisms. So that is what the work of chloramphenicol is. And what else? We have got ofloxacin. So wide range of variety of fevers. So it has got potent in fever, curing the fever, urinary tract infections, and so on. So that was for the oflox. What else? Streptomycin. I told you about the streptomycin as well. So streptomycin is basically taken in the case of tuberculosis. So, it has been taken in the case of tuberculosis. So, that is a general information which I am providing, and I had asked you one very important question over here. What was the question? That what are the limited spectrum antibiotics? What all are included under the category of limited spectrum antibiotics? So, as I told you, penicillin has a narrow spectrum here. So, it has got, that is the answer. I hope most of you have got it, narrow spectrum, or I can say treating only a few bacteria. So, it is actually, yes, treating or acting upon limited microorganisms So, I hope that is very well clear to you. Penicillin G as well as V I am talking about, these are narrow spectrum, that is limited spectrum antibiotics. So, let me just write this as well, limited spectrum antibiotics, penicillin I am talking about. And what are some of the semi-synthetic modifications of penicillin? Penicillin has also been modified because every time the research is going on to improve that very medicine, to improve the function of that very medicine. So, basically the semi-synthetic modifications I am talking about, semi-synthetic modifications. Amoxicillin, so let me just rub this off first. Cillin and ampicillin. So, these are some of the medicines which are used these days in order to treat the bacteria. So, that is all in the case of antimicrobials. This very class of drugs has now been completely covered. So, let us move on to the another class of drugs, as I told you in the last session, that is antiseptics as well as the disinfectants. So, very popular, we use antiseptics as well as the disinfectants in our daily lives. So, what are basically antiseptics and disinfectants? So, just try to recall what all functions are actually carried out by these kind of drugs, these kind of medicines. So, what are antiseptics first of all? So, that is the question. First, antiseptics. Antiseptic. Septic means a kind of an infection which is developed within the living system. So, in order to avoid that infection, we need what? We need some kind of a drug. So, basically what are antiseptics is, they prevent the growth of bacteria or, to be very specific, not specific but very general, that is the microorganisms. So, they prevent the growth of microorganisms or they may kill them. So, may or may not be killing them, but definitely be going to stop their growth. So, it is, they may even kill them, making our work easier, because once the microorganisms are killed, we are purely infection free. So, it kills them as well. So, So that is the work of antiseptics. Antiseptics is actually in the form of creams, in the form of skin creams, solutions, even powders what we have, even the soaps. So all these things which can be applied on our skin, which can be applied onto our body, that is included under the category of antiseptics. That means any kind of a living tissue, we can apply antiseptic onto it. So these are, they can be applied on living tissue. Very safe for it. So it is basically safe to apply. What kind of living tissues I am talking about? Most prominently, it is used on the skin. So that is used on skin. That means if I have got some kind of a skin infection, these creams, in the form of creams, it can be used. So it can be used on skin, on wounds, on cuts, any kind of bruises that we have. So if we get hurt, what do we apply? We immediately apply an antiseptic. What is the most prominent or what is the most common antiseptic use is Dettol. So that is nothing but the antiseptic, and we have got a Dettol solution as well as in the form of a soap. So what is that? Again, it has got the same very drug, the same very antiseptic. So we are going to discuss about the Dettol in a little while, but before that just try to focus upon the basic definition for antiseptics. So these are the antiseptics which can be applied on our skin. It is very safe to apply these antiseptics on the skin. While what are disinfectants? Now we are through with the antiseptics. What are now the disinfectants? So I have got another category, disinfectants. So disinfectants can also be having a similar kind of a composition, having a similar kind of chemicals present within it, but they may be in high concentration. They may be having high concentration of chemicals. That means making it unsafe to use on the skin, unsafe to use on the living tissues. So disinfectants cannot be used in, so they cannot be used on living tissue. So these are basically unsafe for skin or cuts or anything like that, because due to the high concentrated solutions, or maybe there may be some chemicals which are toxic in here, not toxic as we inhale, but toxic if we try to apply it on our skin, on any of the body parts. So basically these are nothing but the disinfectants, and what it does is they kill the microorganisms. So disinfectants, they immediately kill them, kill the microorganisms. So what kind of disinfectants we use? Yes, we can use the Dettol solution as well, but that is slightly having a less concentration. That means less concentrated solution, it may or may not kill the microorganisms. So in order to clean the toilets, in order to clean the floors, what you use, one of the very most prominent kind of a chemical that is used is, or I can say the soap solution, that is known as the Lysol. What is actually Lysol? It's used for the floor cleaning, or I can say the Harpic solutions, what we use in our toilets. So what is that? That is nothing but the disinfectants that we use. It has got so much of high concentration of the chemicals that it immediately kills the bacteria or the microorganisms. So we have got the basic definition for disinfectants. It cannot be used on the living tissue first, and they are unsafe for the skin, cuts, wounds, etc. Kill the microorganisms. They immediately kill the microorganisms. They are actually used in toilets, toilet cleaning. Let me just rub this off. Toilet cleaning, drains, floors, etc. So that is what is included under the category of disinfectants. Now these two things, if I talk about the antiseptics first of all, these cannot be ingested just like what we did in the case of antibiotics. Antibiotics are some kind of medicine that can be ingested, but these are those which cannot be ingested, they can be applied externally. So here they cannot be ingested, but, or I can say ingested just like the antibiotics, as antibiotics, but are applied externally. So you may have seen on the various kind of skin creams, various kind of antiseptic skin creams, it's written over there for external use only. What is the meaning of that sentence which is written on these cream tubes? That is, it can be applied on your skin, it cannot be ingested. You do not need to have it, you do not need to ingest it or eat it. So basically that is what included in the antiseptics. What kind of antiseptics we have got? We have got skin creams, we have got solutions, we have got soaps, etc. So I hope you all have got the difference between the antiseptics as well as the disinfectants. Now let us just move on to what kind of antiseptics we have got and what kind of disinfectants we have got. So let's just move on to the types of antiseptics. So under the category of skin creams, what kind of skin creams I can have? I have got furacin, I have got soframycin. Now a very commonly used cream over here. You might have come across soframycin at some point of your life. What is soframycin? That is used to treat the infections. If you have got some kind of a rash, if you have got some kind of an itch, if it is not associated with some kind of a severe underlying disease, so it is just a simple rash, it is just a simple itch. So you may be applying soframycin onto it. Soframycin is actually inhibiting the growth of the bacteria. So what it does is inhibit the growth of I can say the microorganisms. So I hope that is very clear to you. These are some of the skin creams that we use so prominently. Even in the face powders we have got antiseptics in order to avoid any kind of infection whenever we apply the face powder or the creams on our face. So face powders have got, they have got again the antiseptics involved and so on. Now let's move on to the difference between the two. How can I make a similar kind of a solution as antiseptic and how can I make a similar kind of a solution acting as a disinfectant? So for that I would like to take an example over here. The example is of, if I take 0.2% solution of phenol. So if I take 0.2% solution of phenol. So what is actually this? This is now acting as antiseptic. This can be used as an antiseptic. Used as antiseptic. It has got killing properties, or I can say inhibiting the growth of the bacteria. So antiseptic properties. And what else? If I've got a solution, 1% solution of same, again the phenol, 1% solution of phenol. Now the concentration has been increased and it is now unsafe to be applied on the skin. In the labs you have got in the laboratories you may go and check in your schools. What do you have is, you might ask the lab attendant to have phenol, but he would firstly refuse giving the phenol solution. Why? Because it is very concentrated, and what it does is, if 1 drop of a phenol, it actually goes onto our hand, it makes the cells, it makes the skin cells from that area dead, completely dead. So that is what phenol does. Phenol is harmful for our skin for external use, but whenever we take phenol in little quantities, we can make it as an antiseptic. It can kill the bacteria, not even affecting our skin. But whereas if I take a more concentrated solution of phenol, then it might be unsafe for the skin. So then it is not used on the skin, not for the external use, but used on the external things, that is, can be used on the floor for wiping, for cleaning, to kill the bacteria, onto the non-living objects. So here, whenever I take up 1% solution of phenol, it can now act as a disinfectant but unsafe for external use. So it is used as disinfectant. And I must mention over here, unsafe for living tissues. They actually make the living tissue dead. That is how dangerous the phenol is. So I hope you all have got this. Now let's move on to another kind of some solutions that we have in our daily lives. That is one of the most prominent, as I told you, is Dettol. We use Dettol in most of the times. So that is Dettol. So Dettol is basically having 2 kinds of chemicals involved. What kind of 2 chemicals it has got? It has got chloroxylenol, and the second what it has got is alpha terpineol. So these are the 2 chemicals along with one solvent plus solvent. So this is nothing but the formation of Dettol is. So that is the Dettol. So now let's just discuss the structures of the 2 in order to have a proper understanding of how the Dettol is made. So basically, chloroxylenol, first of all I am drawing. Xylene we all know, that is having 2 methyl groups. So here I am taking up the metaxylene, and all stands for the alcohol. I have got an aromatic ring, chloro is left now, so the chlorine is attached over here. So this is nothing but the chloroxylenol. So that is chloroxylenol, and again what we have got is the alpha terpineol. So here is the structure for alpha terpineol. So that is CH3, CH3 and OH. So that is what alpha terpineol is, all again stands for the alcohol that we have used over here. So I hope you all have got the structures here. These are the 2 compounds which all together make what? Dettol. So once you get the compounds, once you go into the research, you may be in your later stages of life, so you can even make a simple solution of Dettol on your own. Once you get the chemicals, access to the chemicals, that is very important, and safety is must. Now Dettol can be used on skin, on living tissues it can be used. It is very safe. And can you name one more antiseptic which is used, a very general kind of an antiseptic which can kill the bacteria. So that is we use on daily basis. It's a kind of a liquid that we put on our hand and then rub our hands in order to protect us from the growing bacteria. So that is, yes, I hope you all have got this by now. That is nothing but the hand sanitizer. So what hand sanitizer contains? It actually contains alcohol. So alcohol is nothing but it can kill up the bacteria. So I have got another kind of antiseptic over here which can be used, but not particularly on wounds. It is actually used generally in order to kill the bacteria. So here hand sanitizer is also such kind of a chemical having some percentage of alcohol, or I can just may write it as contains alcohol, which is which can kill bacteria. So here I would like to discuss one thing. If you have seen the use of spirit, what is spirit? Highly concentrated solution of alcohol, that is spirit, almost pure alcohol. Where is that spirit used? Spirit, yes, actually it's used in the spirit lamp in order to have a flame in your laboratories. But what is the other use of the spirit? So doctors use the spirit post surgery in order to actually wipe off the wounds or the incisions that they have created, the cuts that they have created during the surgery. So they use the spirit that is actually a disinfectant, not disinfectant but antiseptic. They kill the bacteria, they inhibit the growth of the bacteria around that wound, which is particularly very prone to the attack of microorganisms. So we have got under the category of alcohol, I am talking about. Alcohol is also used, pure form of alcohol. Here I am giving you the general examples in order to make you understand what actually the antiseptics are. So pure form of alcohol, that is the spirit. And spirit is also used to actually to clean the wounds. Clean the wounds. So I hope you all are now getting the idea about how antiseptics actually work. So let's move on to another kind of antiseptic which is used in the soaps. So basically that antiseptic is used in good quality soaps. That is used in good quality soaps. As well as what we use under the category of, just like what we have Dettol for the purpose, we can also use Savlon in that case. So there is one other which is Savlon. So just give it a thought about what all chemicals are actually included and what is included in the quality soaps as an antiseptic. So just give it a thought. So have you found out? Actually the antiseptic that is used in the good quality soaps is so it is known as Bithionol. You might not be having an idea about it. So Bithionol. Now let us draw the structure for the Bithionol. A structure something like this, having a sulfur in between. So that is what Bithionol is. And this very compound is added in soaps. It is safe for the skin purpose, it is safe for our external use. So that is what another kind of antiseptic is. Now I was talking about the Savlon. Another kind of a very popular antiseptic which is used these days. Now the Savlon contains, just for an information I am telling you, chlorohexidine gluconate. So do not get worried, we are not discussing the structure for this. Just for your information I am telling you that Savlon is also used as an antiseptic, and what is the chemical involved over here is chlorohexidine gluconate. So I hope you all have got it and you have made this structure as well. A very simple kind of a symmetric structure. You need not worry about it so much. So now let's move on to another kind of antiseptics that we have. One is iodine solution. So iodine solution can also be used. It's a very good antiseptic. So you might have heard about the tincture of iodine. Tincture of iodine. That is used as a very good antiseptic. So I've got tincture of iodine. You must have studied about this in your junior classes. So what is actually the tincture of iodine is having a 2 to 3%. It's having 2 to 3% of I2 solution along with alcohol, another kind of a antiseptic, as well as water. So that is what the tincture of iodine is. It's a very good antiseptic. It's a good antiseptic. For wounds again or cuts. What else do I have? Can you name any kind of a solution that is also an iodine solution and is actually another kind of antiseptic that is used post surgery most of the times? So that kind of an antiseptic is betadine. So another kind is the betadine. So betadine is also containing its iodine solution along with povidone solution. You need not go into the detail. So that is iodine solution with povidone solution or povidine solution. So that is also containing iodine, but betadine here in this case is very concentrated solution. It's actually a 10% weight by weight solution first of all, but having so much of quantity of iodine within it, it actually is a very drying agent also. So it dries up the skin. So that means it is not so much used on the regular basis, but it can be used whenever if we are using it in a diluted form. That means making the concentration low for that solution. So we can use betadine for our wounds and cuts instead of using Dettol as well. So that is also an alternative that you can use. What do I have next? I have got iodoform. Yes, the iodoform test that you have done now becomes relevant. How? Iodoform is again a very good antiseptic. So it's a good antiseptic. What do I have next? I have got boric acid. Now where is the boric acid used? Most prominently it is used in the liquids that you put into your eyes for cleaning your eyes. So in order to protect your eyes from any kind of bacterial infections, any kind of microbial infections, so what we use is a boric acid solution. So here another kind of antiseptic, boric acid solution, that is used for cleaning of eyes or protecting it from the bacteria, protection from microbes. So here I would like to tell you a fact, very interesting fact. Which of the body parts is most infected within a second? Which is that body part that you have is mostly affected within few minutes, or it is prone to infection? So that is not. So let's just assume one very important example. If there is a person standing beside you that is having cold or cough, so what is the possibility that you will also get cold or cough at the same time? The possibility is if that person is most of the time around you. But how do you catch the infection? It is not through inhaling. You do not catch infection at first and foremost basis through inhaling, but through your eyes. So eyes is such a body part that is, it is only body part which has been exposed. As you can see, eyes is actually an internal kind of an organ having so much of sensitive skin that you cannot even touch it. It may be catching infections if you touch it. So what is happening is, if any kind of infected person is standing beside you, most of the chances are these that you catch infection immediately through your eyes. So what do you need to do is, whenever you are actually standing in a public area or something, just try to protect your eyes. Just try to cover your eyes either with specs or goggles. That is the first and foremost thing to avoid infections. A very weird kind of a fact is it, but actually it's very important for your protection. In order to have a protection against infections, just stand away. First thing is, you need to stand away from the people who you think are infected, and second of all, just try to protect your organs. That means try to protect your eyes first of all, and second of all, do not try to go near them or inhale what they are breathing in and out. So I hope that is very well clear to you. So eyes are the most important organs which are exposed to infections. These are very prone to infections. So eyes are very prone to infections. It is the only area which is exposed so much. Not our skin, not our hair, nothing but the eyes. So I hope you all have got it. Now let's move on to another kind of, now I'm moving on to the example for the disinfectant here. So what I can call a good disinfectant? So the example is, so we use this on daily basis, that is the Lysol. We call it as Lysol. The spelling would have been different for the branded ones, but here is the common name for that kind of a solution, that kind of a disinfectant that we use in our homes for floor wiping, for cleaning the floors. So that is Lysol, and it contains what? It contains actually orthometa and paracrysols. So what is cresol? We have got a methyl, we have got an alcohol. So here there is the cresol. Orthocresol, metacresol, and finally the paracresol. We have got a mixture of 3 in the Lysol. So you might be telling your friends and your near and dear ones about what all disinfectants do we use and what are actually the chemical properties of these disinfectants. So I hope these are very well clear to you. We are through with antiseptics and disinfectants. In the next session, I'll be starting off with one last class of drugs that I would like to discuss, that is anti-fertility drugs. Very important from the point of view of our democracy, from the point of view of our population. So I'll be now taking a leave, and we will be again meeting up in the next session. Till then, take care.